Today we're going to talk about the significance of the grinding of the coffee. Depending on how you're going to use your coffee, that's how you're going to grind it. So if you're using a plunger, it's probably going to be more towards the coarsest end of the grinding, although I recommend don't go too coarse with your grind. Have it a little bit finer than what you might have traditionally thought of as plunger coffee. Because when you do that swirling technique that I talked about on one of the other segments, you're going to bring a nice crema up, and you need the coffee fine enough so that when you create that little bit of pressure as the plunge goes down, that some crema will actually rise. Then you're moving along to drip filter. There's about 1 bar of pressure, it's called gravity, when you use a drip filter. So there is a little bit of pressure coming through the drip filter. You can have it a little tiny bit finer, and the coffee is literally just water is just being poured on the coffee, and the coffee is just dripping through. That's why it's called drip filter, obviously. You've got stovetop. Stovetop, you want to go somewhere between your grind that would be appropriate for drip filter and espresso. Not quite as fine as espresso, because we can't create the same level of pressure with stovetop. You want to go somewhere halfway in between. You're going to have to experiment a little bit like with this. So when you're going to your local roastery or the place that you're going to be grinding or trying it at home, just play around until you know you've got a grind that's actually starting to work with flavour. At the end of the day, what we're after, maximum flavour and all of the complexity of flavour. We don't want to lose anything. Those are the main things. Then we get to espresso. Now the grind becomes crucial. The grind must be the right size to create the right pressure. Too coarse a grind, you're not going to create enough pressure. Too fine a grind, and you're going to get way too much pressure, and you're not going to be able to get that coffee coming through the head of your coffee machine. So if you're grinding for espresso coffee, you may have a home grinder, and most people who are making espresso at home now would probably prefer to grind their own coffee because you want it fresh and you want to have control over your grind. You've got to match your grind to the machinery that you are using. The trouble is there are grinders on the market that cannot grind the coffee to the right size or in the right way. And that's why you'll find that all actual cafes are going to be using what we call a burr grinder. A grinder like this. You can get domestic burr grinders. And I have to say to you, it's well worth the investment to get a proper grinder, especially if you've spent reasonable money on your actual home espresso machine. So I'm going to be talking about the difference between using a full commercial handle and head, like we've got on this domestic espresso machine. So this is your proper full 9-bar espresso machine. A lot of you at home may have the small baskets. This is called a 58, so it might be something like a 52. Remembering it's all about pressure, the smaller it goes, the less compression that you're going to need. So with this, when I grind it, I'm going to put all the coffee in, and then I'm going to give it a really good hard tamp because I'm trying to create enough pressure to pressurise this size basket. But if you've got a little basket, think about it, and you've got a smaller machine, if I over-pressurise it or grind my coffee too fine, it's not going to run freely through the grinds, and I'm not going to get the right type of flavour. So the way this is grinding, these grinders grind directly into the basket, quite handy for home use. You probably don't need a big chamber, and I can just determine the fill by looking at it. If the grinder's right for espresso, it does have these little clumps in it. It's called clumping. And for this size espresso machine, which is at the full 9 bars, I'd want to see a little bit of clumping coming through in my grind. I'm always going to knock the air out, want to make sure there's no air in this compression, and then I'm going to tamp it nice and firm. So I've made sure it's nice and flat and even, and that I've filled it to my guideline, which I'm going to use, which is the ring that's running around inside the basket, and that's going to be my pressure line. So that's going to give me my guide as to how coarse or how fine I need this coffee. Always going to filter that line, and that's going to help me to determine what grind I'm going to use each time. Then I'm going to pop it in the machine and make myself an amazing espresso. So to today it was all about the grind, because at the end of the day what we're trying to produce is that beautiful, rich, creamy crema that is a wonderful caramel colour and is all shiny and looking beautiful and fresh. And to do that we need the right grind. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you're having a lot of fun at home, trying out these new techniques and things that you may or may not know. But remember that you're just working from home to do the best job you can to enjoy your coffee, and that is what coffee's all about. Thanks for watching today. Coffee Worx.